It's a chess game. And so we need to remove the players from the board, and we need to enable those that are still out there to continue to move forward.
Has every member voted? Hawkins. Representative Hawkins. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Clerk will lock machine, record the roll. 60 ayes, 10 nay. The majority having voted in favor. Senate Bill 1307. Senate Bill 1307 is passed the House. Correction to title.
No correction to title.
Hearing none, the title is approved. Bill will be transferred to the Senate. The House will now have before it Senate Bill 1337. Good gentleman, 27.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request unanimous consent that we cease further reading of Senate Bill 1337.
Unanimous consent requested. Is there objection? Hearing none, the gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the body. This bill is relating to board members on irrigation districts. As farms continue to scale up as a result of market pressures and otherwise, it becomes increasingly difficult, especially in rural, remote areas, to get landowners to serve on the boards of irrigation districts because they don't qualify, they don't reside in the district anymore because the tracts have become bigger. And so what this legislation does is it allows, with a 2/3 vote of the board of the irrigation district, a landowner who is within the county where the remote district of less than 15,000 acres is, or in an adjoining county, to serve on that board as long as they own property within the irrigation district. So with that, I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Hearing none and hearing no negative debate, debate is closed. Question is, shall Senate Bill 1337 pass the House? Clerk will lock the machine. Members will cast their votes. Has every member voted? Does any member change their vote? Birch, Pickett, Church. Clerk will lock the machine, change, and record the vote. 70 ayes, no nays. The majority having voted in favor of Senate Bill 1337. Senate Bill 1337 has passed the House. Correction to title.
No correction to title.
Hearing none, the title is approved. Bill will be transferred to the Senate. The House will now have before it Senate Bill 1286. Good gentleman from 14.
Mr. Speaker, request unanimous consent to cease further reading of 1286.
Unanimous consent requested. Is there objection? Hearing none, gentleman has the floor. Present the motion.
This bill is for veterans. When veterans, they first retire, they go through a process of finding out disability. And it's fairly complicated if you lose a leg or PTSD and other infirmities. It's difficult to go through this process. And what's happened here recently, companies have stepped in and they're somewhat predatory. When I first retired, they wanted like $5,000 up front and no guarantees. I called one the other day, $500 up front. And if I got from a 50% disability to 100%, they'd take $12,000 for the contingency fee. So this has kind of gotten out of hand. So this bill is to kind of lock this down, get these guys, these bad players out there and bring good players in. And the key is no upfront fees will be prohibited, and compensation is contingent on success and on those contingencies that are reasonable. So this is a good bill to protect those veterans when they first come out. That's a good bill. Please vote green.
For the motions, for debate on the motion. Gentleman 25.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Debate in support of this bill.
Gentleman has the floor.
I am very grateful for the gentleman from 14 to go and bring forward this bill. A lot of veterans, people don't understand what they have to go through as far as like the process for the disability claims they have to deal with. A lot of it, kind of give you a little bit more context behind what happens. If you have a glass and you look at that glass and you fill it halfway full with water, and that's about 50% full. Well, they'll look at the highest rated disability that individual has, and they'll basically consider that to be that glass that's halfway full. From there, you have 50% left. You go and you have like a shoulder injury or something, they give you another 30%. You think it'd be 80%. No, it's actually 30% of that 50% remaining. And so what these organizations do is they help a lot of veterans get to that 100% rating. I mean, you start getting up into the 90% rating, and trying to get to the 100% is nearly impossible. There was a lot of people that are being taken advantage of. A lot of our veterans are being taken advantage of, especially those with traumatic brain injuries that weren't able to go and really advocate for themselves. And so I'm grateful for this type of legislation. I'm also need to note that I'm very grateful for our state's veteran service officers because I think they do a phenomenal job as well. And so with that, this bill will be getting my green light.
Further debate on the motion? Hearing none, hearing no negative debate, debate is closed. Question is, shall Senate Bill 1286 pass House?
All right, folks, good morning. Welcome to Idaho Signal. It is March 19, 2026 here as we watch Senate Bill 1286 get a vote on the floor. I assume this is going to pass unanimously, just like the last bill did. And there it goes, 70-0 for that bill. I do want to welcome you all today. We'll keep tabs on the House. We've got a lot of things lined up to share with you today. First, we do want to acknowledge the death of Nampa Mayor, who died suddenly last night. This is the article that was sent out. He was at a town hall event. The newly elected mayor of Nampa, and he was at a town hall event and collapsed and was pronounced dead shortly thereafter. Very tragic. He was also the clerk, I believe, the county clerk of Canyon County, and it's quite a shock to see this happen and rock not only the community, but our hearts and prayers go out to his family, his friends, and the entire Nampa community. It was very, very shocking on that. But we wish Mayor Rick Hugabaum a peaceful afterlife. We know he's with the Lord. And we'll take a brief moment of silence here for the good mayor. All right, and if you do know his family, I'm sure you're reaching out and doing the best you can to help support his family there. Okay, we have, like I said, we've got a lot to cover today. Earlier this morning in JFAC, they were voting on a new health and welfare budget. We'll have Brian Allman in in a little bit to discuss what that looked like. Also, we sent out a bunch of texts over the week to various folks across Idaho, just informing them of what's been going on here. Because sometimes, for those who can't watch Idaho Signal every day like you are out there, we got to keep informed to get people noticed either way. And sometimes we get some great reactions that come back. So we'll get into that as well. That should be fun. And various bills that are being reworked, they're coming back around, or they've been held in committee for a while and they're finally getting their day heard. We'll get through all of that. But I wanted to share with you, we have a special guest here in a second. I wanted to share with you something that's very fascinating. We kind of ad-libbed this the other day, which is there's and we can go ahead and show the website. There's a program happening that launched this year, and it's called the Statesman's Youth. And there you see the website, Empowering Tomorrow's Christian Statesmen to Serve Today. And what they do is they identify young Christians, males and females out there, who are looking to find an internship to assist and help the legislators in the state legislature. As you may have heard or have seen, the legislators in Boise we're a part-time legislator, so they don't have a full-time staff. It's not like in other states where representatives and senators, are assigned or can hire and be appointed an assistant or two or a full staff. These folks go down there for these 3.5 months, and they're basically on their own to go through all of the bills, to manage their own schedule, to do everything that you would think someone else in that position of power may have assistance for. But that's certainly not the case here in Idaho. And so this is kind of a win-win situation here, where you can find active, interested youth who are willing to take some time out of their normal routine to head down to Boise and be an intern and be an assistant to a legislator or two. And so we have one of those folks here with us today. Jill Manley is an intern. She's 17 years old, and she's been down there in Boise since the beginning of the session. Jill, welcome to the program. It's nice to see you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. So I wanted people to get a little bit of an understanding of your background. Where if you're from Idaho, what interested you in this in getting involved in this internship program, and kind of like what you see it benefiting you long term. So give us a little bit of background of what got you interested in joining this program.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised in Idaho in a very small town called Kamei. And I was raised in a wonderful home. My family was really just phenomenal. I grew up with a rather large family, and they were all at various points of their life pretty politically active, whether that was in like directly or more kind of in the background, but they were all aware and very just in the political arena. And so growing up around it, I was very aware of it, very active in it. I've done door knocking, working on campaigns, a lot on various different legislators throughout the state. So it's been something that's become a part of me, a part of my interests and passions. And my older brother actually interned for Senator Cindy Carlson last year. And so this year I was originally going to do the PAGE program, which is like Statesman Youth, but not quite to the degree that they go all out. But then I heard about Statesman Youth, and I was requested to join, and so I applied and was accepted, and now I'm here, which it's been a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your like daily activities. Like what are some of the things that you work with the senator on or assist in?
Yeah, definitely. So I get here about 7:15 in the morning. So Senator Carlson is the legislator that I intern under. She works on the JFAC committee, so the Joint Finance and Appropriations Committee. And so she's here pretty early in the morning, ready to go at it. So I will arrive. I'll do devotionals with her specifically. It's been a really amazing thing to do with her, just to focus in the morning before I go out and about in my day. And then after that, I kind of immediately go on to email work. So I check her emails. She gets hundreds of emails throughout the day and week. So I kind of sift through those. I look at constituent correspondence. I'll do that. I also help draft her Substack. So I've been, we try to do it weekly. Sometimes it doesn't always get out, but I will work on helping write that, have her check it, and then we send it out together. I will also attend various meetings, so I'll sometimes watch the JFAC committee, or she's also on education committee. So I will attend and watch that, just anything she needs me to do throughout the day. I'll do legislative research, any looking into bills that she is either sponsoring or just needing some more information on. So a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So now that you've been there, I mean, we're in the middle of March here. We just passed the middle of March, and are you noticing how much more of a help someone in your position is to a senator or another legislator that doesn't have someone like yourself in that position? I mean, how much is this needed, do you think?
Yeah. Well, like you said, the legislators do not have that much staff just to come in and help. They have, between the three of them, usually they have one attaché that works for three senators. So I'm not this House is a bit different, but I'm on the Senate side. So yeah, just very understaffed. And so for me to come in and work on anything that she needs help with, whether it's just being there as a moral support for her, because the bombardment of workload and weight that she is carrying on a day-to-day basis, to come in and be able to help lift and try to walk alongside and carry that with her to show how valued and appreciated she is, along with the practical day-to-day nitty-gritty stuff that I get to do. I would say it's a very needed position and has been very helpful. And yeah, she said she's very glad I'm here and would be in a whole different place without me. So
Yeah,
yes,
I
I would
bet.
say it's very needed.
So then you said you grew up in a politically active family, staying engaged, and God bless you for that. I mean, that is a great family to be a part of. I know there's too many families out there that are somewhat disengaged from the process, and then they wake up one day wondering what happened, and it's like, well, you
Yeah.
weren't involved, so what do you expect to happen? That being said, I mean, you're 17 years old, you're just starting out, you're basically working at the Capitol now. What do you see as your future? What do you want to take out of this to use going forward?
Yeah, that is a great question. And I will preface it with, because I am a believer and because I have the Lord as my ultimate authority, it will be up to him and his leading. However, from the doors he's been opening, where I think he's directing me, I am hoping to this fall go down to Patriot Academy and get a bachelor's degree in campaign management. So that is kind of my interest and individual passion when it comes to politics and just government in general, helping to get people who have good morals, good decision making, good people interaction, just good people in offices that are important and impactful to all of us. So that is kind of my goal. I think that would be a wonderful thing if it's able to come to fruition, Lord willing, and then using that to tie into ultimately, I would love to be a stay-at-home mom.
That's
So.
awesome. Well, I commend you, especially for being in such close proximity to power that you still are walking away saying, I want to help people get into that position and then just go home at the end of the day to my kids. So I
Yeah.
commend you. We need more folks like you.
Thank you.
There's too many out there that get that taste and go, oh, I'm going to be governor someday. So
Right.
not to say that couldn't happen, but I commend you on all the work that you're doing there. And I'm so glad that you got involved in this program. Where would you, last thing, where would you tell young folks watching this now how they could get involved and do what you're doing?
Yeah, so the Statesman Youth Program has been a wonderful stepping stone. So often getting into government, especially for people my age, it can seem daunting or not really sure where to start. And so going to that website that you showed and applying for the Statesman Youth internship, it's really super easy. The people you work with and work under are really just amazing believers, very passionate and driven about what their calling in their life is. And so, yeah, for any youth that's wanting to get involved, even if you don't see politics or government as a long-term career option for you, it's a great stepping stone.
Excellent. Well, I wish you all the best. Good luck. We'll check it. Well, maybe we'll check in with you at the end of the session to see how it all wrapped up for you. But folks, statesmanyouth.org, so you can get involved just like Jill has here. Thank you so much, Jill, for taking the time out today. Go get back to work. I'm sure she's missing you. All right. Take care. Excellent. All right. Very good, folks. What a great program. And if you want to donate to help folks like that, because they have their housing taken care of and they get a stipend and so forth. And so it's they definitely if you aren't someone who can apply yourself or have someone in your family that can apply, you can always donate there at statesmanyouth.org. Very excellent. All right, let's get into it. this morning. Is Brian Allman around? Knock, knock, ding dong. Is Brian Allman around? If Brian Allman is there, he's at the Capitol. Very nice, sir. I know you were in JFAC this morning. They are starting to pass appropriation bills. We're going to get into all of that maybe starting tomorrow or next week to really dive into these budgets here. But one of the big things that made news earlier this week, if it wasn't last week, I think it was earlier this week, that the health and welfare budget was voted down. And so it had to get reworked in JFAC, and that happened this morning, right, Brian? You were in the room?
Yeah, that's correct. The Health and Human Services budget it was $5.7 billion for health and welfare, Medicaid, and a few other programs. The Senate voted it down on a 10-25 vote, and the opponents of the bill were about evenly split. Half of them thought that it cut too much. Half of them thought that it didn't cut enough. So the question before JFAC was, how do we present a budget now that is going to make both sides happy? And it'll be interesting to see what happens when this one hits the floor as well. They ended up cutting a little bit more than the previous version. According to my math, it was about $63 million more than the last bill. And that includes $21 million that's being cut from the ResHab program, the residential habitation program that's for people with various developmental issues. It helps them live in homes instead of being institutionalized. There's another bill that's already passed the House and it's on the Senate floor now. They could even be voting on it now for all I know. That would cut $21 million from that budget. And so this one takes that into account plus a few extra votes. They tried to do, Senator Cook tried to do a substitute motion that cut less, but that one failed.
Yeah, we're seeing those vote tallies go through now. So basically, what we're going to be presented with is a budget that's now, you said, $63 million less than the previous one.
Thereabouts, yes.
Yeah. So that means that it's not overall 63 million. It's in addition to what wasn't cut enough earlier in the
right. So they are there. It is going to be a bill that cuts even more, and we'll see if Senator Guthrie gets up there and complains about it again, saying that he wishes we had never cut taxes last year.
Right.
But maybe they pull enough people now who believe that cuts are necessary to actually make this pass. One thing that's interesting, and I wrote about this a few days ago, when you watch that Senate debate on the previous budget bill, Senator Cook was the one to carry the bill. And it was obvious in his tone of voice and his word choice and his facial expressions that he was not happy about it. He's not happy about the entire maintenance budget process.
Oh, gee, welcome to the club, buddy. Welcome to how many times has someone like Tanner or Kyle Harris had to carry a bill like that?
Yeah, that's a good point, and it shows how things have shifted. In the couple of years ago, we would have people we consider to be fiscal conservatives who were shooting their own IFF spending score in the foot in order to carry these bills as part of the negotiation process of getting things done. Now it's the other way around. Now we're having to see some of the more moderate spenders carrying conservative budgets, perhaps against their better judgment. And that's a good thing as far as we're going. It has been a rough session. It has been a frustrating session, but we still are seeing budget cuts. Once the enhancements are all through, they might actually be even or even higher than last year's appropriation. That does seem to be the way things are going. But as long as we still see some structural cuts, moving things from ongoing to spending to one-time spending that has to be reappropriated each year, it gives the legislature more oversight, and it gives us more of an ability to actually cut this thing down to size.
Yes, and forgive me, I printed out a bunch of the budgets that we're going to be going over here in the next few days and so forth. But there was one thing that happened early where they were taking funds, dedicated funds, and moving them into the general fund in order to cut back on the spending, and then and be able to say, okay, we're going to cut back over here, but we can't cut police and fire over here, so let's shore that up by cutting over here. Does that make sense to you, what I just explained? Maybe you can explain it better.
I think so. I do know the governor's original budget proposal that he unveiled in his State of the State address was you did use a lot of one-time shifts and things. And I know Representative Tanner called him out for that. Some of what he was doing was taking the interest generated from the agency fund and moving it over to the general fund to balance it. But that's not a structural balance. It's like if if you're in credit card debt and you pay it off with another credit card, that's not a balanced budget. You're just shifting the deck chairs on the Titanic. So I do think JFAC is really working to try and make a structurally balanced budget that will be intact going forward. And of course, that's making a lot of people unhappy who'd rather just draw from the rainy day funds or do those one-time gimmicks in order to maintain the spending level that they would really like.
Right, yeah, and the thing that I was talking about here was Senate Bill 1332. If you guys want to bring up the statement of purpose on that, this was taking several cash transfers and putting them into the general fund. So Section 1 of the bill would move $45 million from the Strategic Initiatives Program and put it into the general funds. The Idaho Opportunity Scholarship Fund, taking $3 million from that, putting that into the general. The Permanent Building Fund, taking $33.7 million, and so forth. The In-Demand Careers Fund, that's launch, taking $10 million from that and putting into the general fund, and doing that in both 26 and 27. So there was all this money being moved over and taken away from those other programs to. So I mean, when you do that, is it? I mean, you're cutting from one program, but you're still paying in the other. So, I mean, overall, are we still spending the same amount? Are we doing it more wisely? I mean, what's the purpose of this?
Well, it is reducing the spending in these programs and putting it in the general fund so that there's enough money for the entire budget that JFAC and the legislature will pass in the end. The fiscal year 2026 stuff, remember, that's last year's budget. That's the stuff that they passed last year that originally had a $430 million cushion in there, even accounting for the tax cuts, but then revenues came in less than expected, and that's when the governor did his 3% holdbacks. So for the fiscal year 2026 stuff, that's really on top of that. That's taking extra money that some of these agencies perhaps hadn't already spent yet. Like in the case of the launch grant, I remember during debate, it came out that a lot of the money in launch was just sitting there because you'd had students who were awarded grants to go take them to the schools for their in-demand careers. And then for whatever reason, they ended up not using it. Perhaps they decided not to go to school. Perhaps they moved. Perhaps they didn't, maintain the.
They never
the class
showed up.
level.
Some of them never showed up, and they just took the money and ran. So they're out there with the collection agencies. I remember watching over the summer that the state said they're going to have to go hire a collection agency now to go get some of that money back, which made me think, don't we already have collection agencies working at the state level for other programs? Anyway, I digress. But go ahead.
Maybe. I don't know how that would work. But in any case, so they had this extra money in these funds that did not need to be spent. So may as well just, take it back. And then looking ahead for 2027, same thing, reducing launch by 10 million. Obviously, I think most of us here would like to see launch repealed rather than having a picking winners and losers free college program from the people who donate to the governor's campaigns. But reducing it by 10 million, I think, is a good start, and it will show that, okay, maybe this program doesn't need this much money. But then remember, this is exactly why Senator Cook introduced a bill to reduce the amount of money available for the parental choice tax credit, because he thinks, well, you're going to take it away from the program I like, I'll try and take it away from the program you like.
Right.
Thankfully, that bill is not going anywhere, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll continue to keep tabs on this. Obviously, this bill, when it comes back, is it going to the House side or will it go to the Senate? I think it goes.
I'm not sure.
It was in the Senate last time.
It was in the Senate first, so it probably will go to the Senate again. They have the 10 maintenance budgets and they split them. 5 go to Senate, 5 go to House, and then they switch sides once they pass. So I assume this will take the place of the one that failed in the Senate because, well, to be blunt, if it failed in the Senate once, you would probably want to send it to the Senate again, because if it's going to fail there again, you don't want the House to have to go through all the work. Yeah.
Yep. Fair enough. All right, good. We'll keep tabs on that. Another bill passed the Senate committee. I think this was either yesterday or the day before. House Bill 602, dealing with what we're just calling the Sharia law bill. No Sharia in Idaho. Here's Senator Lenny presenting that bill finally on the Senate side. Let's take a look.
And tell us about House Bill 602.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brian Lenny, District 13, Nampa, Idaho. House Bill 602 is about something very simple. It's Idaho courts applying American law and protecting Idaho residents. That's shortly, what all this bill does, it basically says that if someone tries to drag your case overseas or force foreign law onto a dispute involving an Idaho citizen and their constitutional rights get stripped in the process, that Idaho would then say no. Courts already do this, by the way. It's not something terribly new. We just would like to codify it so it will not essentially disappear on us. 12 other states have passed this type of legislation since 2010. And currently, Idaho Code 10-1309 covers foreign judgments coming in for enforcement. So this bill just catches it on the front end, on the earlier stages, and picks up foreign laws or courts or contracts as well. So I know we're pressed for time. I'd like to answer questions if there are any, and I'll just stop there for now.
Thank you, Senator Lenny. Any questions? Senator Winthrop.
Quickly, Mr. Chair and Senator Lenny, I feel like we've seen this bill before. Is this one similar to what we heard earlier in our committee? And if so, how is it different?
Senator Lenny.
Mr. Chair, Senator Winthrop, similar topic, yeah. That bill didn't make it out of committee, so I don't really think I can comment on that. But it's a similar subject matter, yeah.
Okay, I don't see any other questions. Senator Lenny, thank you. I don't have anyone signed in to testify. I have some signed in favor, but not testifying. Is there anyone that would like to testify on House Bill 602? All right, I don't see any. Senator Lenny, any concluding remarks?
Really quickly, I think it's important to note that this does not apply to businesses that voluntarily contract under foreign law with international business, things like that. Contracts already signed before this bill would potentially pass. Religious freedom isn't touched. If people want to voluntarily do something in that way, it doesn't touch them either. So that's about all I have.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions for Senator Lenny? Okay, thank you, Senator. We'll let you come back and join us. All right, Senators, we have House Bill 602 before us. Open the committee for a motion or motions.
The bill ended up passing. We don't need to watch that section of it, but that's that's good news. It was interesting. I loved the way Lenny tackled Winthrop's question there, because she's like, "Isn't this something that we dealt with before?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, but like, stay focused. We're talking about this bill right here, you know."
Right. And of course, there was a Senate bill that died on the Senate floor. So it did pass through that same committee. And of course, you got to be careful about referencing other legislation. You're really not supposed to do that. I was looking at this one. It passed the House on a party line vote. Every Republican voted for it, and every Democrat, 6 of the Democrats voted against. 3 of them were not in their chairs for the vote.
Let me guess. Was one of them Birch?
Representative Birch was absent for that vote.
What a shocker. Boy, those hard bills, man. He just can't hack it. He can't hack it, folks. Out there in District 15, I know we got a bunch of viewers out in District 15. You know why Birch doesn't show up for those hard votes. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Brian. Where do you think this heads? It goes straight to the governor's desk, you think?
Yeah, so I think this will probably pass pretty close to party line. I mean, there might be 1 or 2 that I'm sure we can guess might have a problem with it, but really, this is one of those bills, just like talking about who uses which bathroom, that you wouldn't think we'd have to use. So it should be obvious that we only use the laws that come from the American tradition and the tradition that we were built off of, the Christian Western European tradition. But it's a new world, and so we've got to make sure our laws reflect all the possibilities out there, and we don't want people taking advantage of loopholes that will allow things that really run contrary to our society.
Yeah. Well put. All right. Anything you're working on here before we let you go?
Well, I'm personally just looking back at Mayor Rick Hogeboom. He was a rare person in Idaho politics. He was loved and respected by people all across the spectrum. Even the statesmen gave him their endorsement when he ran for mayor of Nampa, and conservatives really supported him. Before he got into politics, he was a pastor for a decade, worked at a pregnancy center. He was a county clerk. He was a precinct committee man, and just young and competent and intelligent, and just an overall good man. So that's what I'm thinking about now.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, and it just must be heartbreaking for his family, his children. I can't imagine him doing that. But he obviously was involved in doing stuff that he loved, and hopefully he just took a quick trip, and didn't have to suffer on his way to the Lord. So I share that sentiment with you, Brian. Thank you so much for that. All right, Brian, we'll check back in with you tomorrow. Have a good day, sir. All right. All right, folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will look over some text message replies. We also have, guys, let's get prepped for this. We got a voicemail we want to play, so we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with that on the other side of the break.
And that's exactly what happened. You want to pull the tape? You can pull the tape because we now got video.
The dictionary defines a pledge as something that you give as a sign that you'll keep a promise. As Idahoans, that's what we're looking for in our elected leaders. A sign that they'll keep their word. Talk is cheap, and so are political promises, hidden agendas, and special interests. This is why we created the Citizens Alliance of Idaho Pledge, affirming the values Idahoans have been living by for over 100 years. Inspired by the only two documents everyone has agreed to live by. So when an Idaho legislator signs our pledge, inviting voters to publicly hold them accountable, that's what we call political integrity. The pledge restores trust and honesty between voters and their legislators. It means protecting our shared values and ensuring your voice is heard in Boise. And that is priceless. Thank your legislator for having the political courage to sign the Citizens Alliance of Idaho Pledge. And if they haven't, it's time to ask why.
Hi Matt, I'm Tricia from Burley. I was able to take my family on a field trip to the Capitol building yesterday and toured it. It's beautiful. And we also sat in on the House debate about Bill H-822, which I'm sure you're going to talk about today. And I just have a rebuttal for Representative Church's hypothetical debate that I thought I'd share with you. Laws are only broken if they're held accountable for it, right? You can speed up and down the highway all day, and it doesn't really matter until you get pulled over and issued a ticket. Am I correct? So in her hypothetical state track meet, what parent is going to say, who was that unnamed teacher from that unknown school among thousands of students and teachers who didn't tell me that my daughter wanted to run in a boys' race? Not going to happen. And we know it's not going to happen. Really glad to see that passed with flying colors, but her argument is just so off the wall. And I don't know how these good gentlemen and ladies sit through debates like that. It was so hard to sit there and listen to it. I was wiggling in my chair and whispering in my 15-year-old's ear the whole time. Can you believe what's coming out of this lady's mouth? He couldn't believe it either. But anyway, it was a great experience. Glad we were able to do that. And I look forward to hearing your commentary on this certain bill. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Tricia, for that. We did talk briefly about 822 as it was going through. But folks, if you want to leave your message, give us a call. 208-402-4915 is the message, is the number to leave your message, and we'll play it across the state of Idaho, just like we did Tricia's there. So yeah, 822, man, that was the Pediatric Seeking Transitions Parental Act. We covered it in the committee there. It did pass with flying colors. The notion that, if a third party is talking to a child about transitioning or anything like that it comes up during their discussions with the child, with the parents, when the parent's not there, that they have to notify the parent. Of course they have to notify the parent. So you bring up some great points there. We appreciate you following along, taking your kids to the Capitol. That's what it's all about, folks. Just like we had Jill earlier. You expose your youth early to the things that are going on in the world and how much power they have as an actual citizen of this country to be able to contribute to the future of where you're headed. It sticks with them forever. forever and ever. I think it's once you get a taste of what it means to just be civically engaged, you rarely walk away from it. And that's dovetails nicely into to some of the outreach that we do at our organization when we're trying to keep people informed about what's going on. So, for instance, we sent out text messages in Senator Guthrie's district to his constituents, to the phone numbers of folks that we have in that area, and let them know that that Senator Guthrie is holding on to immigration bills, specifically House Bill 704, House Bill 700, the mandatory E-Verify bill, and the penalty for knowingly hiring an illegal alien in your workforce. And both of those bills passed the House, we've been talking about this forever, and now they're sitting in Senator Guthrie's drawer. He refuses to hold a hearing on them. So we were letting his constituents know out there in his district. And when you do a text message campaign like this, obviously you've all received them before. You can text back. Usually it's a command like stop, like you don't want to get them anymore, or you can just text back, thank you, thumbs up, whatever it is. We get all sorts of messages that come back. Oh, did you not know? Did you not realize that we actually get to see the messages that are texted back? Well, we do. And so we made up a little bit of a graphic here to show you some of the text messages that came in from Senator Guthrie's supporters, because we got a lot of good thumbs up. We got a lot of that stuff. But we also had stuff like this. I agree with Senator Guthrie. Both bills are grandstanding and not needed. Trump is the worst president we have ever had. I do not support his policies, nor will I support his loyal followers. Here's another one. I wouldn't join Donald Trump for anything. Impeach the freak. The illegals do the jobs lazy Americans won't do. Oh, really? Pause on this one for a second. I just want you folks to realize, when we send the text message out and you send your message back, I know exactly who you are. I'm not going to dox anybody. We're not doxing anybody here, but it's fascinating to get the real, the real attitude from some of Jim Guthrie's supporters out there. And again, that's the graphic up at the top that we sent out along with the message. Let's look at this next one. Those workers are doing the jobs teens used to do. Today's teens won't do that work. Let's ship Trump out instead. Okay. Why won't teens do that work? Why do you think that? Is it what is it? Are teens different today than they were, so many years ago? I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're not. But did it just magically happen overnight that all of a sudden teenagers are like, nah, I don't want to do that anymore? Teens rose up and said, we will never do farm work again. We know that's not the issue. And then check out this one here. These bills will destroy Idaho's ag industry, which is already struggling getting people to fill needed positions, many of which are seasonal. Guthrie is doing exactly what is best for Idaho. Quit drinking your Kool-Aid and pull your heads out of the sand. You see, folks, once again, these are the same arguments that you hear from Guthrie's friends on the floor in the House and Senate. And these are actual constituents out there in the district texting us back what they really think. So this is the big problem that we're having out there. But once again, we are just getting this message out. I told you we got a lot of good feedback, good thumbs up, and all that stuff coming back to us as well as many of the text messages and the click-throughs to send Guthrie a request to release the bills. This last one here is a bit of a mystery. Here's part of it. If ICE were to round up all illegal aliens, Idaho's ag would not be able to function. Arrest the rapists and killers, etc. Yes, but these illegals who have helped me and you succeed in our endeavors, give them a path, and a short one, so they can continue to make the great state of Idaho proud. I am, and he leaves his name from American Falls. I was introduced to you by so-and-so a number of years back. He thought he was texting Senator Guthrie. this person here. We covered up their names because he's self-admitting here that he's benefited greatly because of illegal aliens. I mean, this is incredible. This is incredible. This is an actual text that came back. And I'm not going to share this gentleman's name, but holy moly. I mean, maybe I do. Do I need to share this with the FBI or the ICE? I don't know. But here's somebody who says he's self-admitting he benefited from and I thought we didn't have illegal workers, and I thought people weren't friends with these people, right? We saw the what was it, the dairymen and the Farm Bureau say, "Oh, we don't hire illegals. None of our members hire illegals." Well, what about this one? That full screen again. Let people read that one for themselves. These illegals who have helped me and you succeed in our endeavors. Oh boy. And folks, is it the illegals that make our great state of Idaho proud? Is that our new one? Illegals. We are making Idaho proud. Fascinating. Well, anyway, we'll keep tabs on that. We send out a lot of text messages. We get a lot of juicy ones back. So we'll continue to keep you abreast of those things. It's fascinating. All right. What else do we got on the docket today? We wanted to share with you. There was a bill. Now, this is a fascinating bill, this merit-based hiring bill, because a couple of years ago we watched as the conversation in universities and colleges over DEI hiring, DEI practices, advancing people and hiring people and focusing here and there and everywhere on diversity, equity, inclusion in higher ed. Was a really big deal and really hurting the output of folks who are qualified to join the workforce instead of just being pushed along because of DEI, and focusing on DEI instead of what we should be focusing on in higher ed. Well, the same problem also happens within the medical field, and so Representative Hostetler brought forth a bill that would also institute merit-based structures, merit-based parameters, that if the state is going to be involved, in which we are, in healthcare via Medicaid and Medicare and so forth, that anything that the state is involved with, like all of those folks, they can't be running their operations under DEI. They need to be running them under these merit-based standards. And so he brought forth a bill recently, and let's take a look at some of that presentation here, because he starts to get some pushback from a Democrat, of course, and we brought some receipts to help back Clint up. So let's watch this.
To present RS 33759, which is a slight redraft from the original, also known as the Merit-Based Healthcare Act. We wanted to hone in a little bit of information on this, so it went specifically or was geared more towards the Medicaid providers themselves. This bill already had a hearing and got through that process. So before I forget, I will request that this gets a due pass recommendation to the second reading calendar. But very quickly, just to recap, this bill essentially goes over the reality that Medicaid participation is voluntary, and as we as a state and as a nation move away from the discriminatory practices of DEI, we want to be a better steward of the people's dollars and essentially provide merit-based education and healthcare, which is best for all citizens here in Idaho. I know the bill has been circulated, so I won't go back through that unless we have any specific questions, and I'll try and keep it brief. So I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Representative Crane.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to introduce RS 33759 and recommend it be sent to the second reading calendar.
Okay, committee, we have a motion before us. Representative Bell.
To speak against the motion, and I guess make a substitute motion that we hold in committee. To speak to that motion, this is not something that has been heard or discussed. This is a pretty material change to how we do business. To ban any kind of bias training is actually a pretty big deal, and to try to consolidate a totally substantive hearing on a very material point into a 2-minute Ways and Means hearing is just going way too far, I think. implicit bias is actually a big deal in the healthcare industry. It's not even a DEI thing, it's a healthcare thing. We know that there are very different outcomes based on, Black women might get treated differently in maternity wards. To ban any Medicaid provider from doing any kind of training of personnel saying, hey, you shouldn't be biased against who comes in the door or you don't get Medicaid is a pretty shocking departure from how the world works right now. And to just, again, skate that through committee in 30 seconds without having any kind of substantive hearing on this, I think is a grave disservice to the medical profession, to healthcare in Idaho, and to the process by which this body does business. I think we owe it to the people to, at the very least, have a real hearing on this before running it to the second reading calendar.
So Representative Rebel, to clarify your substitute motion, would that be to return the RS to the sponsor?
Yes.
Okay. Committee, we now have a substitute motion. Representative Monks.
Thank you, Chairman. If I could just ask the question.
Go ahead.
Representative Hostetler, we already have a hearing on this particular legislation? Is this just a replacement or is this a new bill altogether?
Representative Hostetler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Representative Monks. We did already have a hearing. Essentially, this just took out any responsibility by the managed care providers versus just the healthcare providers themselves. We wanted to target in specifically on the voluntary Medicaid participation in those who provide that.
Representative Monks. Yeah,
follow up. So we had a full hearing on this, and all we're doing is we limited what we originally had already approved in committee, correct?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Monks, absolutely, yes. We just wanted to shrink that net a little bit.
Perfect. Thank you.
Representative Rebel.
I'm sorry, thank you. I would like to hear more about this because I would like to hear what committee this went through. Was there a committee that signed off on banning anti-bias training? I wasn't part of any committee that approved that concept. So I'd like to hear more about how this was vetted.
Representative Hostetler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Representative Rubel. Yeah, absolutely. This had the intro and it had the full hearing, had some good questions. I mean, if we want to roll through this piece of legislation.
In what committee?
Representative Rubel. Representative Hostetler, if you could answer in what committee?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Representative. So it had an introduction in health and welfare and the full hearing in business.
Any further questions for the sponsor, Representative Rebel? Or debate on your motion?
Yeah, well, I mean, I sit on the Health and Welfare Committee, and we certainly didn't approve anything like this. And again, this really feels like something at the very least, and I know I already made my motion. Maybe somebody wants to make an amended substitute to at least simply introduce, but I feel like this needs to be discussed in a committee. This feels like a big overreach to just send this straight to the second reading.
Well, Representative Rubel, sorry you're not paying attention. Maybe you should watch Idaho Signal. No, I'm just teasing. But check it out. So the bill was presented, was printed in her committee, the Health and Welfare Committee, and then it had a full hearing in the Business Committee, and we have that footage here. Here is Representative Hostetler presenting the bill before the Business Committee. You see Vice Chair Wheeler and the full Chairman Redmond there. There were questions asked throughout the hearing. There were even a few folks that came up to testify on behalf, either for or against the hearing. And then there was even her fellow Democrat, Representative Brooke Green, asking questions and discussing this bill. So sometimes, I know the session moves quickly, but sometimes it moves a little too quickly, even for the Democrats who tend to not have that much to do because there's only a few of them in the House there. But we just wanted you to be sure that Clint Hostetler is on it. He's got this bill. This is a great bill, the Merit-Based Health Care Act. This is House Bill 928. It replaces House Bill 828, which was sent to the floor, actually was sent to general orders to fix some issues. And now it is the issues are being fixed this way through the House Ways and Means Committee, and that's why the bill is being sent to the second reading. And so we look forward to some more debate on the floor when it happens. And hopefully maybe Representative Rubel can watch this segment, get up to speed a little bit, read the bill, and then have some different arguments for the bill on the floor, because I'm sure she will, when their big protection of DEI that the left is so engaged in. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us today. It is Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow for the Friday show. And I think there's just some things to make sure that on your way out, you have to make sure you're staying engaged, right? You got to know what time it is, and we continue to do that. So you go to citizensallianceidaho.org. Make sure you're on our text messages things. We don't send out a ton of text messages. When we send out a text message, it is a call to action. It empowers you to do something. We're not sending out text messages willy-nilly. We're not sending out text messages to say, hey, send us money. It is to say, hey, your representative, your senator is doing X or Y, and if you want to help fight back on that, or you want to help support that, here's how you can do it. And so go over there, sign up at citizensallianceidaho.org. In order to get these notices. We also do them by voicemail. By email. And so maybe we'll do them by voicemail. I don't know. It's a novel concept. But that's the thing. Yeah, there it is. The Action Center. Head over there, and you can find all sorts of ways to get involved and make sure that you're paying attention. That's the number to dial. We'll leave you with some graphics on our way out. Our YouTube channel is growing as well. We're almost at 9,000. Incredible. Keep it rolling, folks. And be sure to contact your representatives. Let's get these immigration bills and get these teachers union bills across the finish line. Take care, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.
And the night runs deep. Twice the reaper leaned in close to the Tower of Man. A whisper lay cut the summer wind's hot span. They've mailed this notice to the preacher in the arena.
This bill, I think, it puts a stake in the ground that says we have a sovereign right to protect what's ours.